We are live.
Okay, we're live now.
Yay!
All right, I'm just gonna start off just looking at this problem here. So let me share my screen before I start here. There it is. Okay, so we're talking about this question, find the shortest distance between two straight line segments PQ and RS, where P is 300, Q is -800, R is 0, 0, 11, and S is 0, 0, 14. So, Sonia, could you say maybe what you thought about trying to solve that problem, or where maybe you had gotten stuck?
Well, I started out with the, just the parameterizing the PQ and RS, which I didn't really have a problem with. And I get the minimum distance, which is outside the bound. So I kind of threw that out. But then I started looking at the, boundary, and I assume it's kind of in that part that we're having an issue with, because I seem to have gotten, this, and I've looked at the parameterization and stuff, and I've got my screen up. You can see where I found PQ and RS. I'll let the computer do it because last time I kept messing up on my subtraction. And you can see I just did R1, R2 for my parameter. Probably won't use lambda on the test because it's a little harder to get to.
Yeah.
But I used the distance formula to get my equation. Found my two values. Did my derivatives, partial derivatives. Set each of them equal to 0. I was having problems with the wasn't taking dt or whatever, so I went ahead and just typed the top. And I don't know what it was doing. It was just having an issue. So since I already had them sitting there, I just typed them in.
Okay.
It was just quicker. And notice that lambda is not in the bounded region that we're using, the boundaries we're using. So I knew I had to disregard. So I then started looking at my region boundaries. And I know I've got to do A, B, C, and D, my points. Found the segments, and then I let the computer do a lot of this just tedious stuff. And then I started with A, B, and I parameterized it. I probably should have used something other than T, but whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
So I found G, did the derivative, got my T value, plugged it in, which is fine. Evaluated G at that value, which that is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
My problem is I've got other minimums down here. Now, I don't know if I plugged something in wrong or what, because I did BC the same way. Found the value. Did my, plugged into my distance formula, F, which I just renamed it G since I'm working with it different spot. Plugged in, I let it, plugged in 1 for T and T for lambda in my original. And that allowed me to get the new equation. Did the critical values by setting the derivative equal to 0. And then evaluated G at that one. But see, I got 8 down here.
Okay. So at that point, at that critical value that you have there, T is -11/3. That's going to be outside of your boundary outside of the interval from 0 to 1. So you're going to throw that out.
Okay. Let me put a little note here. So as I look back to finish this stuff. You know, I was probably just in automatic mode and didn't even pay attention to that. I realized the first one wasn't, but from the original function, I didn't even check those.
Yeah.
So that means 8 is out, so it's not an option. So now we're still only 11. So then I did CD, same thing. Plugged it in for t and lambda. Did the derivative equal to 0.
Mm-hmm.
Evaluated g, so that's 14.
Yeah, and that's inside the boundary. 8
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, I cleared t so that I could evaluate again.
Mm-hmm.
Did my, it has nothing to do with it. I was trying something else. Sorry about that. Did my DA, plugged in, and I don't know why I didn't plug it, just have it evaluate the function. I just plugged them in.
Mm-hmm.
Probably just quicker for me trying to type it in time-wise.
Yeah, I found that as we went further on in this course, that I got more in the habit of like defining my variables and setting up my functions like early on. Like I saw other people doing that and was like, oh, it's easier later on that I don't, because I would make copy and paste errors.
Yeah. My computer, every so often, my mouse doesn't want to work, and it gets stuck, and I have to wait to get it to work to even copy or paste.
Right.
So, you know, I had written down the equation earlier. I just wrote it down on a piece of paper when I was doing it. And so when I went to go plug it in, I could plug it in and type the equation just as quick, almost. But, yeah, it probably would have been easier if I said F and then said t equals 0 and lambda equals 1 minus t.
Yeah.
It's much easier.
Yeah, it's more work on the front end, setting it up, and then if you make a mistake there, then it's all going to be messed up. But
well, I mean, I'd already had F defined at the beginning, so I mean, it probably would have been just as easy to do the plug-in with function F instead of retyping. Probably may have been. So let's see. So that one, and as I get down here, same issue. That is not in our bounds.
Right.
If I can type. Now you know why it takes me. Gotten a little better typing words over the years, but not any better.
Yeah.
The only two values I had were 14 and 11, so the minimum has to be 11.
Okay. I'm going to walk through, I'm going to share my screen with you.
Okay.
I actually ended up putting in the, not only just like that segment, like the A, B, C, etc., putting in those segments, but I also did like the endpoints of those segments or the endpoints of those intervals too, just like so I don't know if you did that, but
No, I did not.
Yeah, it didn't lead to a valid solution, but I was just just like we had to go back and do the boundary with our line segments. I think you have to go back and do the boundary with the vertices of that.
Yeah, if you do linear programming, you actually have to take the intersection points and put. So that would make sense to have those intersection points of the boundaries.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start sharing my my file with you, and I'm just going to walk through it here.
No.
That's the one. Okay, so I got to re-enter this stuff. So up front, I'm just clearing everything and then figuring out what my parameterization for line PQ and RS is, and I just used T and U to parameterize that. And then there is my function f that represents the distance, and then below that I have the derivatives with respect to t and u, and then below that I solve for the critical points, but because that u is outside the boundary. So I mean, you did that already.
Yes, same thing, different variables, but
yeah. And then we have to parameterize our boundary area. So I just call them seg AB. So that first part is just substituting the new parameterization of segment AB, and then the derivative, and then solving for the critical point. So I didn't even bother to like, you know, substitute that in, because at first I was just looking for, you know, is that within my interval? So
yeah, and I didn't even check them. I didn't even bother to check those to see if they were in my interval.
yeah, it's easy. Like the first time I did this problem when I got it from you, I just typed it real quick and got 0. It was like, wait a minute, that's not right because they don't intersect, and it was because I didn't make sure I had my interval, because it's a line segment and they're not lines that connect, or else
Yeah.
they would intersect, but they don't. And then that second part after I solve for my critical point, what I'm doing is just substituting in 0 and 1. So just the end boundary of that interval.
I'm going to put a little note in mine to say also substitute pipe.
Yeah. So it's like we're doing the boundary, and then I think we're doing the boundary again.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So that gives me a note and stuff. I have a question, and I'm noticing it when you as you go, you have your things in a text box,
Yeah, do you know how to do that?
No, I mean, sometimes as I'm typing, it'll say change to text, and other times it won't let me.
It won't let you do. I think you can do something with the formatting after. So when you put when your cursor's like on the line and you haven't entered in anything, like, can you see it right there? So do you see the little box with the plus sign on it?
Okay.
So you have a little text box that's like floating, and if I just click on that, I get another. Yeah, so I can either choose like Wolfram language input is just regular. If you just start typing, it automatically selects that for like putting in code, and then so I'll select plain text if I just want something that's readable and like make a note to self or self about solving, while I'm doing it, or if I'm just practicing like writing the steps. And then also this freeform input, I think, is like you just type like whatever, and I think this is like the Wolfram Alpha where it's gonna I don't know.
Yeah, it does that equal stuff.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be like formatted nicely. No, does it? What am I doing? See now I'm screwing up here. What am I looking for? The query? Oh, that's the one, I think. Is that gonna work for me? Yeah. So if you do the alpha query, you can just kind of put in some sloppy stuff, and it will figure out what you're trying to do, so that you don't have to mess with the code so much. So that's how I get it. I just hover over that plus sign and then click on it and do it that way. I'm going to delete it right here. Or not.
Or not. Love it.
Okay, I don't know what it's doing now. Okay, it's frozen. That's great. Hang on a second here. Did I push too many buttons? I don't know. No, but it really won't do anything now. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I'm trying to figure this out.
Absolutely no problem. Decides it doesn't want to do it for you, huh?
It doesn't. Let me see here. Maybe I should close it and then. So I think my computer's struggling right now. Okay, I'm going to close that window.
Okay.
And unless it's so frozen that it won't close. Come on, Mathematica, we're trying to make a video here.
And it doesn't want to work, of course. Technology at its finest. Like when in classroom when we were trying to get into the Zoom, it would not let me go in through his link. It wouldn't let me go in for whatever reason. I actually had to go to the Zoom website.
Oh, really?
Create my account through the Zoom website, come back in, and then I figured out why the video wouldn't work.
Oh, why's that?
I was still in the other chat room, and the video was tied up in the other chat room. As soon as I logged out the other chat, because I finally got to where it said video is busy in another application, I went, in another chat room.
Yeah.
And it was overriding.
That's funny. I thought mine would be difficult. I was worried it wasn't going to install because I actually don't have my own laptop. I just use my laptop from work, and I was like, oh, God, I need something new on here. It's going to make me put in some password.
I hadn't thought of that.
But
do you need the video when you do screen sharing over YouTube?
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
The webcam? Because he's wanting to do the screen sharing through YouTube on the webcam. Proctoring, and then video, like put everybody in a Zoom classroom or whatever.
I have no idea.
To be able to visually see them, and then he wants to be able to see their screen. And if he does that, if the video has to be used for the, that would be a issue.
Yeah.
Because mine will only let it use it for one application.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't do YouTube videos, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that would work either. I think there would be sort of an issue with the camera, but I really don't know how that works. Okay, so Mathematica has caught up with what I was asking it to do, or my computer has caught up with what I was asking it to do. So let me get on back here to sharing my screen with you now that it's not bogged down. Okay, so we had been talking about putting those segment endpoints in and evaluating the distance there. Okay, and then I just did this, just pretty much like copied and pasted that code again and just changed my what I needed for that particular segment. And then solving for the critical point, which you did the same thing, and that one is in. So then after that, I evaluated at the critical point that it output, and then also the endpoints of that particular interval, 0 to 1. So there's my outputs there. And then same thing, same exact thing for segment CD, find the critical points. That critical point is, I think that was the one where you had it in, maybe 13/3, or maybe it was -11/3. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was one of the 11/3s. I can't.
Yeah,
I am thinking there.
Yeah, then there's my endpoints of that interval, and then the last segment, same thing. Get the critical point, and then evaluate at the critical point in the intervals. And then I didn't even do like a min function. I just like scrolled and looked for the lowest value.
I did that just for it was over because my notes, I was just using it so that I had that in there to know where I got the min value. So when I went back looking at all 58 problems, I wouldn't forget where things came from.
Right.
So that was where my error was, is I had things outside the boundary that I kept using them, trying to use them in for.
Yeah, and that's a good practice. I think that really just helps me to remember how to do the problem. If I have to verbalize it and create some kind of sentence, then usually it helps me remember how to do the problem. So, did you have any more questions about that particular problem?
No, I mean, that's kind of got what I did, because I could not figure out exactly where my error was. Before, when I was sending you stuff, it was, I can't subtract,
Which happened?
Forgot the negative, one thing here or there. But this one, I was like, I know there's an error, fundamental error, something.
Yeah.
Just a basic thing again of you got to check it's not in the boundary. So.
Yeah, and like I said, I had done the exact same thing when I first tried to just do the problem really quickly and got an answer that, I got 0 and I knew they didn't intersect. So
yeah.
I had a red flag that told me.
Yeah, sometimes you go, what did I do here?
Exactly. Okay, well, great. So I'm going to stop the broadcast. So I don't know if it's going to cut. I don't know if it's just going to totally cut off or if it's going to just stop recording. So here we go.